everybody, welcome. I apologize for posting one video after the other, but we were without internet for a while as there was a huge fire in town and our relay tower was on the roof of the building which burnt out. But more about that later. We have to talk about Harry's loss in the High Court, which his lawyer should have told him he would lose if his father does not interfere. So indeed it was a huge risk, one not worth taking, but clearly his lawyers are only seeing dollar signs. So let me tell you why it was not worth taking the risk. And God knows, I have been waiting and waiting for someone to pick up on it. But first, I'm going to go through the most obvious. This time, Charles could not interfere because the whole world was watching. And whose fault was that? Harry and Meghan's own fault, because of their public profile, them being in our faces every day. Of course, everyone was watching, from England, America to Thailand, Romania, literally all over the world. I mean, I'm reporting on it from South Africa. Charles, despite his illness, is being criticized all over the world for being too soft on Harry and Meghan. And there is indeed some evidence that he did help them out, at least in the first few years of them being in the United States. I mean, think Ted Sarandos and his CBE. So this time, Charles could not do anything. He had to distance himself. But, well, we'll get to the but in a while. Secondly, the entire case was ridiculous and should have been thrown out on day one because it was based on one lie after the other. Harry does have Met security when he is in the United Kingdom, or at least he can have Met security. The only difference is that now he has to give 28 days notice that he will be in the country and exactly when. That is really all he needs to do to get security. But Harry is sick and delusional and he feels that it is a slap in the face, demeaning for him to do that. So ask yourself, what does he expect? Does he expect 4, 5, 6 specially trained officers to sit in a little office all day, every day, waiting for him to arrive whenever? I mean, they could be sitting there playing Tetris on their phones for months while the taxpayer pay their salaries. Or does he expect these people to be pulled off other cases or from the security detail of another royal at a moment's notice? All these options are ridiculous. All the idiot needs to do is give a couple of weeks' notice. That is all. Okay, next. Charles has told him that he can have a suite at Buckingham Palace at any time. He was also invited to stay at St. James's Palace, but Harry turned it all down each and every time and went and stayed in a hotel. In reality, he turned down the security which came along with these palaces. Staying in one of these palaces would likely also have given Charles the opportunity to provide him with transport and security. But Dumbnut said no, because going in and coming out of these palaces, according to him, was, in inverted commas, too public. Well, not if you don't advertise the fact that you are staying in one of these palaces. There are vehicles in and out of these gates 100 times per day. And I would say that a good 90% of the time, no one can see who is in the actual vehicle. But no. Harry has to make a big show of the fact that he turned down offers of accommodation at the palaces to stay in a hotel. You know, I can carry on and on and on as to why this case was a total shame. But there's one glaring flaw in Harry's case, and it was there all the time and in our faces, and no one picked up on it. Now, listen carefully. Who is Harry's bodyguard? The main guy, the one who accompanies him everywhere. Well, his name is David Langdon, who served as a close protection officer with the Met for 16 years. David Langdon started out as a beat constable in North London. David Langdon, or Langers as Harry refers to him, was alongside Harry as he left a Soho nightclub in 2011. He was also with Harry on the Las Vegas trip, during which Harry was photographed stark naked. He accompanied Meghan to her baby shower in 2019. In 2022, a couple of months after receiving the Royal Victorian Medal from Queen Elizabeth for service to the royal family, he retired from the Metropolitan Police. David joined Broadstone Risks, an international private security firm, and a few months later he was seen in the front seat of a Range Rover transporting Harry and Meghan from Frogmore. And the rest is history. He has been with Harry ever since. Although David had protected the Queen, Prince Charles, and even William and Catherine, it was Harry he spent time with the most. 10 years prior to leaving the Met. And now he's continuing the job of watching Harry and Meghan, accompanying them to Jamaica, Nigeria, Colombia, and basically everywhere they go. For whatever reason, he was so serious about working for Harry or with Harry that he relocated his family to Montecito. Okay, so what else is there about David Langdon that we sort of missed in what I just said? Well, number one, he's British. Number two, he was a metropolitan policeman and a close protection officer assigned to the royal family for nearly 16 years. And number three, there is a photograph of David carrying a Glock case while he was walking behind Harry. So what happened to Harry's argument that his bodyguards may not carry firearms in England? Well, I'll tell you what happened. Harry and his lawyer are both lying. That is what. As for Harry's BBC interview after his loss in the High Court, I have no words. I've never seen or heard anything like it in all my years. Honestly, I do not know what to say. I will have to think about it some more, I guess, because it honestly and truly did my head in. Regardless of the words which came out of Harry's mouth, what he basically said was that his father should have intervened. They are not speaking because his father did not intervene, and thus the case lingered longer than it should. He also implied that because his father and family did not intervene, it is proof that they want him dead. Okay, he did not say as much, but he, without a doubt, implied it by saying that they should have wanted to keep him safe. As I explained right in the beginning of this video, There was no way Charles could interfere. He is a constitutional monarch, and it would not be his place to do so. And unfortunately, Harry and Meghan had made such a spectacle of themselves that there was no gap for Charles to interfere unnoticed. No, I mean, indeed not, because the whole saga was being watched by the media and the public all the time. Harry is now saying that he is going directly to the government. Yes, indeed, His Majesty Harry's father's government, and also to Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister himself. From the other side of his mouth, he is saying that he does want to reconcile with his family. What family, Harry? The one whose government you are suing, the one who you were talking about in the BBC interview, the family you say wants you dead? I'm telling you guys, Harry may never have been the brightest, but this is just insane. Seeing that none of his arguments hold any water, the £1.5 million he will now have to pay is a total waste, as was the court's time. Totally wasted. What he wanted was IPP status, not security so much. Everything he wanted security-wise, he has already. All he needs to do is pick up his phone and tell them when he will be arriving in the country. But no, that is not good enough, because Harry had now regressed to the age of 3, where he throws a massive tantrum when he does not get exactly what he wants. I looked at him when he said that because of the loss in court, he won't bring his wife and children to England. Well, that's fine, I'm sure. I don't see anyone crying about it. At this point, Harry can stay in the United States himself, even with next year's Invictus. As for the children, no one really cares anymore what they look like and all those things. All anyone wants now is that Harry and the children are taken out of the line of succession. Then, if they do that, he can keep all the secrets about the children's births and all the lies and all those things. They can keep it all to themselves. We won't be bothered once they're out of the line of succession. But of course, you know, that's not what they want, because that is all they have left to sell anyone. Anyway, I've told you before that I know what type of cancer King Charles has, and Lady C already said it is incurable. So we pretty much know the prognosis, but we are at least not a Harry number 2 who puts a timeline to it. How disgusting was that? My dears, I cannot say much more because talking about it basically just hurts my head. Harry has no sense of reason or common sense left. He has now completely regressed to that of a young child in an adult body. I mean, what is wrong with him? Well, my dears, I received some information, so I have a very good idea as to what is wrong with him. But I'll tell you all about that in the next video. Okay, guys, I'm taking off for now. Please take good care of yourselves until we meet again on the next one. Bye.